Welcome back to the attorney of the Arcane. We're going back to court. And our introduction here was actually pretty kick-ass. So, Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Ryder's testimony was a lot vaguer this time. He probably wasn't expecting to give a second testimony. Missing his statements really helped in situations like this. Doing that might reveal new pieces of evidence that I could use against him. Alright, yep, press. Real new statements or evidence? Hold it. Are you accusing my client of casting a spell and channeling it through a sword? There are a vast number of spells that operate like that. Spells from the School of Transmutation are almost exclusively channeled through an object. Your client clearly learned a spell that would aid in her work as mercenary. Speaking of which... Hold it. Mageblade? It's a transmutation spell that sharpens and empowers my sword. Smack. Would it be excessive for the defendant to use a spell like that on the victim? Was it wearing any armor or protection at the time of his death? Smack. The victim and the defendant were in an intense argument. Perhaps she used the spell in a fit of rage. Perhaps she simply cast it out of habit. What matters is that the sword undeniably has traces of transmutation magic on it. Stabbed. Hold it. Why would she go through the trouble of doing that? A sword alone would have been enough to murder a defenseless person. Mages are always looking for an excuse to throw their power around. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Smack. Is that just your own personal bias, Commander? Smack. You don't need to understand why the defendant did what she did. The fact of the matter is that traces of magic were found on the body and the sword. Do you have any evidence to the contrary, Mr. Cuthbert? Hold it. About that. Spells only leave magical traces on the objects they target, and those traces are only detectable for 48 hours. If my client cast Mageblade like you said, then sure, there shouldn't have been any magical traces on the wound. There would only be traces on the sword. We always find random magical traces at crime scenes. Can't always explain each trace we detect. Smack. That sounds more like a failure on the Inquisition's part than anything else. You really trust that your knights examined the crime scene properly? You don't believe me? Take a look at this picture. I'd seen pictures of dead bodies while studying Mr. Moore's past cases. There was something unnerving about seeing someone I'd met yesterday. I carefully inspected the photo, taking great care to keep it out of Celeste's view. See it plain as day. The sword has the highest concentration of transmutation traces. Why don't those traces fully cover the weapon? The transmutation spell damaged the sword somehow? Why was this picture not brought to my attention, or... What will be the point of that? The dark case is open and shut. Oh, it's the, Are the hexagons meant to be the magic traces? In which case, yeah, that certainly lines up with the... Ooh. Magical lore. Prosecutors seemed unnerved by something. She noticed. See it right here in this photo. She stabbed him right through the chest using Mageblade. It's right about the photo. It really showed that he was stabbed from the front. So why'd that bother me so much? The testimony was a little bit... Well, perhaps the... Objection! We'll see what happens if we get it wrong. Your Honor, it's clear the witness's testimony is contradictory. This piece of evidence proves it. I fail to see how that proves anything, Mr. Cuthbert. Oh, I guess you're right.
Objection!
False. Oh, duh.
Objection!
I'm dumb. Smack. I'm sorry, Commander White, but you've shown us an even more glaring contradiction. No. Yeah? In testimony, you said that my client stabbed the victim right through the chest. It right there in the picture. Where's your contradiction? Exactly the problem, Commander. The picture undeniably shows that my client's sword impaled the victim from the front, but if that's really true, why does the autopsy say that the victim died from being stabbed in his back? What? Orem, you were supposed to submit everything you had to me. Why did you withhold this photo? There was no point. She's a mage. Couldn't have been anyone else. Members over through the gallery. The judge shifted unpromptly in his seat. Uh-oh. Our justice system may have been corrupt, but they'd never get away with such a blatant error.
Order!
Order! Order in the court! Mr. Cuthbert, what is the meaning of this? Your Honor, this photo clearly shows my client's sword impaling him from the front. Which means there's only one way for the autopsy to be true. The sword would have needed to be inserted into the wound after the victim had died. That's crazy! And why don't you enlighten me, Commander White? Did you think my client impaled the victim hilt first with her sword? Do you think she stabbed him to the chest, removed it, and placed her sword in the body of the frame herself? Well, that's... Smack. No, what happened here is obvious. The real murderer stuck the sword to the victim's wound to implicate my client. They made a careless mistake and stuck the sword to the opposite side. You're actually pretty good at this.
Objection!
Oh. It appears I underestimated you, but you've still gotten ahead of yourself. Is that so, Miss Steelwind? He asked the defense one question, Mr. Cuthbert. Your client didn't kill Flintheart McCoy. Then who did? How should I know? If I'm not mistaken, it's the commander's job to figure that out. Oh, I'm well aware of the commander's incompetence, but one fact still stands. There were magical traces on the wound and the sword. Would you like me to tell you how many mages live in that small town? I didn't like where she was going with this. Only one. The defendant is the only registered mage who lives in Cornhaven. Right. Cornhaven was a village of farmers. Celeste was the only mage there. The defendant was also established to have been with the victim minutes before his time of death. In addition to that, I have several witnesses who heard them arguing. You, on the other hand, can only implicate an unknown assailant. I doubt you can even tell me who they are. And so it's clear that the prosecution can't reliably prove how the victim was murdered. I can't say the prosecution's evidence is irrefutable, but the evidence still leans heavily against the defense. Smack. Angry smack. There are far too many unanswered questions for you to pass a verdict. We'll give the Inquisition time to investigate the crime scene and clear these unknowns. I suggest that they conduct their investigation more thoroughly this time. We'll resume the trial tomorrow morning. Court is adjourned. You still have the witness who reported the crime. Hello, Cuthbert. Oh, Mr. Moore. I tensed as she approached me. I've been so focused on Celeste's case. I hadn't even thought about how I left things with my mentor. Scaled Lord. She had probably been in the gallery too. We've just seen how I froze up during the first cross-examination. Your job is to put your client at ease, not the other way around. Sorry. I'm sure she was just snapping you out of it, but everyone saw her become violent with you. It's not exactly helpful if you want to prove she's not a violent murderer. Make no mistake, the prosecution will use that to their advantage. What's wrong with you? He did fine. McCoy, if the Inquisition didn't botch the investigation, Cuthbert would have never been able to buy this much time. He's forgotten. He's my defense attorney, not you. I don't get why he has to take notes from you. No, she's right, Celeste. I need to do better. Never let myself freeze up like that again. I might not be so lucky next time. I like this tension. I like how frosty this all is. Other than that, I will admit that you did well. Cross-examined the commander adequately, and you handled Steelwind's rebuttals as well as you could have. I remembered how Prosecutor Steelwind was glaring at me at the start of the trial. Even thinking about it was enough to make me nauseous. Steelwind. Why that name sounds so familiar? Wait, isn't House Steelwind one of the Four Pillar families? That's right! Lucio Steelwind is the Grand General of Wyvern Guard's military. Hasn't he been caught up in a lot of scandals recently? Scandals? He's been having people killed by the thousands. Right, I remember seeing several articles about him in the Rathholm Gazette. In recent years, groups voicing their grievances against the crown have begun to surface in the countryside. Olivier would answer these complaints by unleashing Steelwind's soldiers on these so-called insurrectionists. More often than not, their peaceful protests turn violent, leading to bloody retaliations from Lucio's forces. And Arya is Lucio Steelwind's only heir. When I saw her name on the docket, I wrote her off as a noble role-playing for fun. She's good. Better than most of the prosecutors I've faced. She's taking this seriously, and with what Flintheart is doing, I can't help but wonder if the prosecutor is acting on her father's behalf. Oh. Do you think Prosecutor Steelwind is protecting the real killer? Inquisition Knights were the first responders to the scene. Didn't that strike you as odd? Right. In a small town like Cornhaven, the village militia would be the first people there. For the Inquisition to respond so quickly, they would have needed to know that magic was used at all. This whole mess feels a little too staged. With the Steelwind involved, this whole situation reeks of corruption. I'm sure locking up Flintheart's daughter would send a clear message to his allies. That was true. Why did she help us in the dungeons? By the way, this works out in our favor. I can't fight the Steelwinds on a battlefield, but I can fight them in the courtroom. On that subject, I've been meaning to give you this. My spell compendium? I grabbed it from the dining room before the Inquisition arrived. I have a bad habit of misplacing pieces of evidence like this. Ooh. So, this is your spell compendium, and it only has one spell. Mage Blade. Prosecution will need to prove that Mage Blade was used in the murder. It will restrict their plan of attack, which will give you an edge over them. I still have no idea who actually did this. Celeste, I need to talk to you about what your father was doing. Oh. She glanced at the bailiff. He was looming close, staring daggers at her. I should go. It looks like they can't wait to throw me back in that cell. Wait, I still... Turned away and quickly walked off without another word. Mr. Moore just shook her head. She's practically begging for a conviction at this rate. Bringing up her late father may have struck a nerve. I would need to be more delicate next time. I can speak with her in the dungeons later. Right now I want to take a look at the crime scene. How negligent the Inquisition were, I doubt they found everything. If you're planning to investigate the crime scene, you'll need this. She reached out into her coat and pulled out a small blue runestone. Froze for a moment, staring wide-eyed at it. Is that? Hey! It's almost like a badge for them. Yeah. Serves as badge and court record. The attorney's runestone. I had a commission for you after you passed the exam last month. You've had one ready this entire time? Cuthbert, are you crying? No. I wiped my eyes and delicately stored the runestone in the pocket of my jacket. You embarrassed them today. Don't expect them to be that sloppy again. As much as I hate to admit it, your investigative mind is sharper than mine. If anyone can get through this, it's you. Oh, thank you. Going to take a seat at the bench near the courtroom entrance. Looked like she would be staying here until the case was over. tucked Celeste's spell compendium into my jacket. I hadn't slept, my body still ached from the carrot ride. I still didn't know whether I was truly up to this, but none of that mattered. Celeste was counting on me, and I wouldn't let anyone get away with killing Finhut, even if the Steelwinds were involved. Let's go. Who? Oh. The Inquisition had set up a teleportation circle at the crime scene. As a defense attorney for this case, I was permitted to use it. With it, I could instantly travel back and forth between the McCoy Tavern and the capital. It's miles better than having to travel by carriage. Handy. Oh, it's you. What are you doing here? Commander White stepped in my way as I approached the tavern entrance. This time I took out my attorney's runestone and presented it to him. I'm the defense attorney in this case. I have every right to look at the crime scene. Whatever. Just remember, I've got my eye on you. You can take that rock out of my face now. Sorry. Ah. Kid, you already showed this thing to me. Yeah, it's an attorney's runestone. I know. I cleared my throat as I shoved the runestone back into my jacket. There was a chalk outline on the ground at the tavern, creating a rough silhouette of Flintheart's body. The chalk lines matched the crime scene photo of my runestone. Noticed the traces of transmutation magic on the ground in the photo. I traced my finger over the areas where they'd been detected. The texture was rougher and almost sticky. Did someone use transmutation magic to alter the floor? The painting of a mage? There's some text on it. Somala Daglian, a legendary practitioner of the arcane arts. He mysteriously disappeared one day. It's rumored that he was developing the formula for a new transmutation spell. Daglian was reckless in casting this spell, however. He quickly lost control of it. His body was never found. Many speculate he didn't die during the accident, but if that were true, where did the spell take him? Sounds like a cautionary tale against using magic. I'd explain why Flintheart kept it in this tavern. It's a portrait of someone. There's some text on it. Adam Everley, politician of the Pedantic. I've heard of this guy. Kind of politician of one of the nations south of here. But he's pretty much a shoo-in to win whatever election they have going there. Election? Had Flintheart been studying alternate forms of government for his little revolution? I wonder if that's Kickstarter stuff. There were candles on each of the tables in the dining area, but there were also lamps mounted on the walls. Those on inspection, they appeared to be artificery. Machines that could reproduce the effects of magic. Why wasn't the Inquisition using those instead? Shards of a broken bottle were next to the chalk outline. The shard has a label on it. It says lotus juice. Never heard that brand before. Alright, tell me. And White, I was wondering if I could ask you some questions. You seriously think I'm gonna help you? I know who your boss is and I know what you're up to. Just need information about the crime scene, as is my right. Yeah, sure you do. First I thought that he was just another corrupt knight, but this felt oddly personal. I wondered if this could all be just a misunderstanding. I might be able to persuade him to cooperate with me. Oh, here we go. Psychological profiles help you in these ensuing arguments. Hmm. What do you think about this? No, just what to say. Alright. What does the Arcane Inquisition do exactly? You trying to pick a fight with me? No, I'm genuinely curious. I'm called in whenever they found traces of magic at a crime scene. Things like this happen often? Ah, maybe once in a blue moon. Makes sense. Most mages were in with the nobility, after all. The ones who made a habit of falling into scandals didn't last very long. Must have an easy job, then. You got that right. Ah, clean up the nobility's messes. Didn't seem very happy about that. Seem to speak negatively about magic. Do you have a personal grudge against mages? It ain't a grudge, it's just common sense. All it takes is one spell. Some rich kid just needs to wave their hands and mutter some magical nonsense. Next thing you know, someone's dead on the ground. To mention if someone bonehead really overused their magic, they end up snapping and going on a rampage. You talking about mage blight? Well, what happens when a mage gets too arrogant, and nobles have that in spades? I don't know if this is going too far, but why would you join the Inquisition if you hate mages so much? Considering the fact that my job is to sweep the nobility's crimes under the rug? I didn't mean to insinuate. No, you have the right of it. Anytime a noble screws up, I'm told to look the other way. But every once in a while, I'm allowed to put a criminal mage behind bars. We can't go after the nobles, but any other mage is fair game. Or at least, they were before your boss showed up. My boss? Did he have something against what Mr. Moore was doing? I have to ask, did something happen between you and Mr. Moore? Ah, Mr. Moore. You really are her lackey through and through. She's my legal guardian. I owe a lot to her. Oh, that's who you were this whole time. I didn't even know she had a kid. Look, I don't know what she's told you, but she ain't the hero she thinks she is. This is about the rumors, isn't it? They're just lies spread by the nobility just to discredit her. They ain't lies, kid. Well, I've seen it myself. That woman's a criminal. My hand clenched into a fist before I calmed myself down. This wasn't the time for emotion. She defends mages who don't have the protection of the nobility. She hates the aristocracy just as much as you do. Yeah, whatever. Alright. Commander White was being hostile toward me. At first I thought he was just being corrupt or apathetic. He seemed to have a personal grudge against Mr. Mora and me. I could clear the misunderstanding. He might help me. Defend yourself against personal attacks. Alright. You have an issue with me, Commander White? Don't give me that crap. I've seen you work before. I don't know what you're doing. You'll be dead in the ground before I help you. Yeah, deflecting seems like the right choice here. Now, that's what Mr. Morris done. I'm the one hitting this case. You don't even know me. What if your problems are with her? They have nothing to do with me. I've seen how she defends her clients. Forgery, bribery, blackmail. She'll do whatever it takes to win. Doesn't matter what you say. I know you're just like her. Like again? I'm not Ruby tomorrow. What do you think of her isn't relevant here? Regardless of what you've seen her do, I'm trying to run an honest case. Look, kid. What I've seen her pull in court, I'm not going to fall for it. No matter what, I know you're a crooked lawyer raised by the biggest crook of them all. Deflecting is his... yeah. This defense attorney was asking you for information about the case. Nothing that I've done has given you any reason to suspect me. Spent some time searching for a rebuttal, but after a while, he just let out a resigned sigh. We just want info on the case, right? Yes, that's all I'm asking for. Alright, fine. I'll answer your questions. Better not make me regret this. As if they persuaded. Oh, and might. Alright. Entirely sure that the sword was the real murder weapon. Right. Guess you want to prove that someone else stuck the sword in the body. Did the Inquisition find anything suspicious on the scene? Guess could we found out the bloody weapon lying around, we didn't. That would have been a little too convenient, wouldn't it? Wasn't it a murder weapon? The killer probably walked out with it. They could have hidden it somewhere in the tavern? Doubt it. After the trial, Steelwind turned the place upside down and scanned it with her magic. There was something in there. Would have found it already. Can't believe you overlooked something so obvious. Oh, shut it with that. I already got an earful about that mess with Steelwind. Well, you don't have to worry about me screwing things up. Steelwind's taking over the entire investigation. Do prosecutors normally do that? Nope. She ain't no prosecutor. She's a Steelwind. I know better than to go against orders from her sort. I know we made a mistake, but she's taken this too far. She even had my men draft a map of the crime scene. Really? Can I see it? Knock yourself out. A bunch of copies. Don't know how much good it'll do you, though. That's a specific measure here. Oh, 1 square is 5. Welcome back to that. I heard this was Prosecutor Steelwind's first trial. She should be pretty talented if that's true. Pain in my ass is what she is. That damn noble comes in here telling me how to do my job. Lord knows what she's even doing here. Think she's here on behalf of her father? I don't know. The men are on edge because of that. You know, we were deployed to one of those regions. Ones where our old man was squashing those rebellions. He said we need to investigate the terrorists there. By the time we got there, they just had us clean up bodies. Scaled Lord. Don't matter if it's women or children, Lucio Steelwind will kill them all the same. Once my men quit after that. Couldn't stomach working for a monster like that. What about you? We all gotta get paid somehow. Oof. That's a lot of emotion. Alright, where else can we go? And way up the stairs, I've heard Steelwind arguing with someone. Keep showing your face here, people will start asking questions. I have the investigation under control now. All you have to do is stay quiet until this is over. You may be a Steelwind, but this is my land. I will do what I see fit. I turned down the hallway, I bumped into what appeared to be a nobleman. Quick motion, he drew a handkerchief to clean the parts of his clothes that had brushed against me, his cold gaze hardening into a contemptuous glare. Gave me the same look he'd probably give to a rotting pile of excrement on the Cornhaven street. Oh, sorry. Watch where you're going, you weed! Ah, you're that defense attorney for the trial, aren't you? And you are? I am Garrick Pierce, the ruling noble of this land. There he is. Garrick Pierce, more like Garrick pierced his chest, pierced Flintheart's chest. Extent. Suppose I should thank you for playing your role in the current trial. I suppose that you also believe my client is guilty. I never said that. And I'm not wrong, am I? That is not what I believe. The entire scandal has done nothing but rile up the public. Magic is a gift for the nobility and the nobility alone. It's a symbol of our cosmic right to rule. Bastards like that girl should know their place. That's what happens when the gift of magic is used by those of impure blood. She's just an innocent woman who got wrapped up in all this. Ha! I must commend you. You almost had me fooled. Excuse me? Wait. You actually believe a little story? What good is a defense attorney if they don't believe their clients? Scared lord. And here I took you for an envious commoner, but you actually believe that trite. Are you sure you're Timora's brat? I know I had to pick my battles, but I really weighed the legal consequences of punching him square in the face. Let me tell you something, boy. If that bastard is innocent, the charges have been laid and made public. Someone must take the fall, lest the public accuse the justice system of corruption. The king believes there is any unrest here. Even for a moment, he will unleash Lucio Steel and his soldiers upon the region. I'm sure you're well aware of what tends to follow after. But does that mean my client should be convicted of a crime she didn't commit? Just one insignificant girl when compared to the stability and well-being of the people of this land. You're far too short-sighted. That's enough. Stop antagonizing him, Pierce. He glanced at the prosecutor for a moment and then back at me. What I call a flicker of fear in his eyes. I suppose that even House Pierce had reason to fear the steel winds. Without another word, he walked down the stairs. I don't agree with him. What? Our system should exist to deliver truth and justice, not quell public opinion. If you really believe that, you wouldn't be working against my client. I honestly think she's the kind of monster who would murder her own father. I'm not so superficial that I judge someone based on their appearance. The only thing I trust is evidence, and all that points to her as the only possible killer. Is that really what you believe? Or are you just hiding the fact that you're here on your father's behalf? Ooh. I am not working with my father. What? She's working against her father? My apologies. I don't know what came over me. It's fine. I respect you, Mr. Cuthbert. You should fight according to your own ideals, just as I will fight for mine. I tried to think of a retort, but said nothing as she walked past me. Double doors to the guest rooms? Had rooms Mr. Moore and I used. They didn't look like they'd been open for quite some time. Door at the end of the hallway? Light from the door, someone was inside. Tried to open the door, but it seemed to be locked. Knocked the door, but received no answer in return. Oh, it turns white if we examined it already. Candles, old architecture. Oh. This knowledge of mine. Lamp. This is an artificery machine? I didn't expect to find something this sophisticated in a town like this. Ah! Artificery is just magic with a different name. Actually, these machines draw aether from the surrounding ley lines too. Didn't ask for a science lesson. Anyways, look where artificery got these folks. Energy cell broke. They haven't had any power for weeks. This goes to show that nothing can beat good old oil and flame. Ooh. Curious. That's an evidence. And everything I could in the dining area, but what did it all mean? Where the murder weapon was found, there wasn't any evidence under the person at the scene either. I knew about the anonymous witness who discovered the body. Oi, you okay, kid? Once again, I let everything else disappear from the world. You listening? There's no clear evidence pointing to the killer. There is, however, evidence pointing to whether or not Flintheart moved when he was attacked. What? No blood trail leading to or from the body. That implies something about the location of Flintheart's death. Oh, hello! A statement that must be answered. Use the arrow to construct the sentence that responds to the statement. Flintheart did not scream. Maybe.
What if?
Right. Bernard died when he was attacked. He didn't move from his position at all. What if he even died instantaneously? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So the autopsy report says he died from a stab from behind. He's been facing away from his attacker. Well, they caught off guard. Would have been in shock and too incapacitated to move. It also doesn't look like his body was dragged anywhere either. Definitely attacked right where this chalk outline is. Aha! There's also a shattered bottle of lotus juice. So the map is now actually useful to us? Yes. Happens right next to the body. Bottle must have only been shattered hours ago.
What if?
Leonard dropped the bottle exactly when he was attacked, which implies that he was holding it after the attack occurred. What's so strange about that? Details may seem insignificant, but together they'll give me a better idea of what the board looked like. The board? It's also the fact that after the lights went out. These candles here when you arrived at the crime scene, Orm? No, we had to light some so we could see the crime scene properly. Thought it was weird too. Good, her father must have had their argument in the dark. Didn't light any candles to make up for the broken lights.
What if?
Wasn't. I mean, yeah. If any lighting during the attack would have been produced by the murderer. I could slowly see the position of the pieces, but there were still areas that I was unsure of. Okay. Might have used a torch or a lantern of some kind. Additionally, the argument that Celeste had with Flintheart must have been sparked by something. Things seemed fine between them before I went to bed. Spontaneous. We were planning to have a conversation in the room. The darkness. Flintheart would have had a lot of visibility. Wouldn't have had a lot of visibility. Well, he never saw the attack coming. Would have been surprised. In too much shock to run away. Kid? All may seem insignificant, but he was holding it when he was attacked. Was he poured a drink for himself or a visitor? Kid! The frenzy of the commander snapped me back to reality. What was that all about? Sorry. Just get lost in my head sometimes. Well, cut it out. Bumbling like a crazy person. Right. Sorry. I found everything I could here. It was time to move to somewhere else. Need to go upstairs, get on the head of bed. There's really anything to do here. Right back to the dungeon. Celeste was huddled down in the corner of her cell. She noticed me, and the weight of her shoulders seemed to lift, if only for a moment. Hi! She had avoided me before, but I doubt she had seen many friendly faces since the trial. Hi, I can't stay for long. I just need to ask you some questions about the case. Right. Oh, what's that? It's an attorney's runestone. Proves that I'm a certified attorney. Fit with artificery. Used to take pictures of evidence in crime scenes. You seem really excited about it. Just wanted one since I was a child. Maybe I finally have one. Oh, that's nice. I'm happy for you. She was trying to be positive, but there were clearly more important things on her mind. I straightened my tie and stowed the runestone back into my jacket. The cell had a barred window. The bars were rusted. If a prisoner tried to escape, there would be a 3-story drop to freedom. A steel door that led to the cell. A magical mechanism covered by a steel box. Placed over the lock. but up and noticed that the mechanism had a dent in it. Like the impact had come from within the cell. Yeah. The torches were hanging on the cell wall. It seemed a bit irresponsible to light a fire in here. Mr. Safety was probably the last thing on the Inquisition's mind. Alright. I'm really sorry for what happened today. It all ended up okay in the end, right? It was unusually forgiving. If she hadn't called me down, the trial may have ended very differently. Still don't understand, though. There's so many traces of magic at the crime scene. Did you cast Mage Blade on your sword that day? You did when I was training last week. That where those traces came from? No. Magical traces only last for 48 hours. After that, they disappear entirely. Not to mention that spells only leave traces of magic on the objects they were cast on. If the sword made physical contact with the body, the traces shouldn't have spread to the wound. Really? What does that mean, then? I don't know. The floor next to the body has a strange texture to it, too. The killer used a transmutation spell. May have changed. May have changed your sword and the surrounding floor. Doesn't make any sense, though. Now, my theory sounds far-fetched, but those traces were only on parts of the sword. That must mean that the outer layer of the sword must have broken off during the murder. My sword can't be damaged like that, even when transmutation magic is used on it. It's the whole reason why I have it. How can you be so sure? Back when I was traveling, I'd always break my weapons by swinging them too hard. I ended up breaking 2 or 3 swings. Maybe 4 if it was, well, 4. God dang girl. How much force was she swinging those weapons with? The sword was a gift from one of my clients. He said it was specially carved from the bone of a purple worm. Transmutation spells can't damage them. I've had it for years. Doesn't have a single chip in it. I don't even need to sharpen it. Wild. Where'd you get this sword again? The Eastern Kingdom. Is it travel outside of Wyvengard illegal? No comment. Mercenaries don't have a lot of more legitimate options for work in Wyvengard. I did what I had to do. I doubted I'd be able to contact a sword's maker in time, if at all. I would just have to take her word for it. I.e., we're not getting away with using that as a sticking point here. What you were saying was true. Why weren't there traces of transmutation magic covering the entire sword? Could you tell me more about your father? This is going to be a sticking point here. Sorry. I know this must be difficult for you. Remember how you two were yesterday? Is this really going to help? Knowing more about him could help me figure out who actually did this. Okay. I was adopted by the McCoys when I was a baby. They always treated me like I was part of their family. Townsfolk would always shoo me away. Didn't want anything to do with a noble bastard. My dad got into a bunch of fights with them over that. Oh? He was a voice of distance, wasn't he? Did you share his views? I knew he hated the nobility. Didn't know about his rallies until just recently. If I knew how much danger his life was in, I'd never have left Wyvengard. I think he knew that. If I'd been there that night, he'd still be... It's not your fault. No one could have expected that. Oh? Not sorry for it, but I really needed to know more. I don't know what to say, but that's sorry. I hear your argument from my room last night. Neighbors must have overheard it, too. Many of them come by to check up on you two. Might have seen the person who did this. Doubt it. Even if they did see something, they wouldn't testify for someone like me. Why? I thought your father was a key figure among the dissidents. Yeah, but all his supporters come from the neighboring towns. Everyone inside the village hates our family. I would tell I was adopted. It's not as if I looked like either of my parents. Rumors spread about how some noble lord must have had a tryst with my mom. You're wrong, obviously. It's hard to stop a rumor like that when it spreads. It's terrible. It's fine. I stopped caring about it years ago. Things were manageable before. Things got worse when my dad started speaking out against the nobility. I was just a pariah at that point. He was drawing a lot of attention to Cornhaven. Everyone's heard rumors about what the Grand General is doing in villages like ours. Neighbors tried to threaten my dad to stop, and that didn't work. They started vandalizing our tavern, even steal my parents' supplies. I had to come back to Wyverngard because some of the other villagers broke into the tavern. They were cowards. Thought they could scare your dad into stopping. They were scared. Dad was painting a giant target on this region. Not as if the kingdom would care if a village like ours was destroyed. She wasn't wrong. Stories of Lucio Steelman were circulated in the papers for months. Even with that, he still stood at the top of his kingdom. There were no real consequences. And now we're at the sticking point. You tell me why Flinart was so angry with you. As long as I can remember, my dad has hated magic. If you even mentioned it around him, he'd fly into a rage about it. And you were born in rage. Since our tavern closed, my family's been in a lot of debt. Fighting always came naturally to me, so I became a mercenary and learned how to use magic to help me fight. Most of Wyverngard's mages are in the nobility, who will pay a lot for a soldier who can use arcane magic. That's why she was a mercenary. Aww. Last night my dad found my spell compendium. I saw him holding it, I finally came clean to him, and that set him off. He shouted at me. He told me that I'd betrayed him and everything he stood for. I can't imagine how that must have felt. I deserved it. I knew how much he hated magic. He was fighting for what he believed in, and I wasn't even there to protect him. Don't say that. You couldn't have known that would happen. I'm sure he still loved you. He just lost his temper. No. I could see it in his eyes. He hated me. A sharp pain in my chest as I read that. I didn't say anything more. Oh. It's a locked door. Anyways, to pivot slightly, there's a locked door in the tavern. It's at the very end of the hallway upstairs. Magician probably searched it already. It's the only room I haven't seen yet. End of the hallway? I think that's my room. Do you know how I could get in there? I'm your lawyer. Not gonna do anything strange. Sorry, you're right. I always keep the key on me. Use that to get inside. I did say there was someone in there. Alright. Oh, we can go straight there. I slid Celeste's key into the lock and turned it, allowing the door to creak open. I heard the fumbling of objects on the other side. Someone else was there. Ooh! I've already told you knights everything that I know. What more do you... Oh! It's you! Something about the way the woman carried herself reminded me of Celeste. I knew she was adopted, but she clearly took after her mother. But like the same bubbly warmth of the woman's posture, tempered with a subtle hint of maturity. Sorry, I'm intruding, but what are you doing in Celeste's room? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm Jolene. I'm Celeste's mother. Ma'am? I can't thank you enough for everything you've done for her. I really appreciate you sticking after her after she hit you like that. It's fine, really. I deserved it for freezing up like that. Anyway, Jolene was Linhart's wife. That means she knew him better than anyone else, even Celeste. What if I ask you some questions? Of course, I'll do anything to help. I revealed a hint of fear and distrust from her. Oh, what's this? It's an attorney's runestone. It advised me as a certified attorney. Oh, wow. You must have worked very hard to get that. Yeah. Also, it's a magical tool that helps you take pictures of crime scenes. Wow, that's amazing. Something about her overly enthusiastic tone reminded me of my late mother. Oh. It's a fancy-looking bed. Do you like it? Celeste had it custom-made by someone in the city. Wouldn't something like this be really expensive? It was. I was really surprised when she returned from her travels. She was making a lot of gold from her job as a mercenary. Happy for her, but I still wish she'd do something less dangerous. Getting a woman with a strange animal. Text says Madeleine Kipling. Yeah, these gotta be Kickstarter rewards. I've always loved that painting. Celeste brought it back from her travels. That girl runs a wildlife sanctuary for endangered species. I think that creature is called a fakip. They live in the swamps of the Eastern Kingdoms. Never knew that creatures like this even existed. That's cute, though. Table with several chairs. It's probably used for entertaining guests. Didn't look like it's seen much use, though. Bear pelt. Door leading the upstairs hallway. Welcome back to you. Oh, Cuthbert, you're back. Sorry. I'm just a little lost about where to go. Well, I guess I can give you some guidance. Oh! In future cases, you may receive assistance from a certain mercenary. Provided you win here and keep her out of jail. Let's see more Kickstarter rewards. Painting by night. There's some text under it. Sir Diogo, commander of the Arcane Inquisition, well beloved by both the people and his fellow knights. Nope, this is actually plot relevant. After many years of service, Commander Diogo retired with honors. This plaque we thank and honor him for his dedication and commitment to the Kingdom of Ivangard. Painting by night. David Serrano, former chief of the King's Guard, Lord Hadley of House Steelwind, who served during the Great Luminite War. And also history of countless tales of his courage, wit, and heroism. This plaque we thank and honor him for coming to the defense of the kingdom. Blah, blah, blah. Restores the fates of countless people have been decided. Bench outside the courthouse. It's a child who used to sit there during Mr. Moore's trials. Oh, she didn't let you watch? Flameheart was a complicated man. It's not uncommon for people like him to despise magic. But then magic is a symbol of the nobility and the king. I don't know. His hatred sounded like it was really personal for some reason. I think something else must have happened. Where should I go next, Mr. Moore? Cora gave you the key to her room. I doubt you'll find anything, but it's the only room in the tavern that you haven't checked. Might find something useful there. Anything? Can't believe it. I finally have an attorney's runestone. You worked hard for it. Never got a chance to thank you. Just focus on your current case. There's a lot of different functions. I can go over the manual with you after you acquit McCoy. Oh, she trusts me. I'm not going to go over my pizza evidence with you. You'll learn nothing if I do that. Please give me a hint? No. Fair. Hey, Celeste, your mom's hot. Oh. Alright. Back to Mom. Let me tell you more about your husband. Why do you hate magic so much? You say that magic's a symbol of nobility, but things sounded different with him. It's as if he thought Celeste betrayed him somehow. I wasn't there when they were arguing, but I can only imagine what he said to her. He's never had anything good to say about mages. I could see how much his words indirectly hurt her. Indirectly? Directly? Did something happen? Effie? I don't really know. Who's Effie? Does Flintheart's resentment have something to do with Effie? Oh? How do you know about her? There shouldn't be any records of what happened. I have my ways of finding out. Of course, you work for Ruby Tamora. What did she do? She strong-armed one of the neighbors into talking. I need people like her going around Courthaven and opening up old wounds. What? I'd always idolized her, but I could never stand her methods. It's about the rumors. Rumors. The mentor started fighting against the justice system. The nobility started levying accusations of misconduct against her. She had rumors that she engaged in bribery, forgery, and blackmail, all to discredit her. Is that really true? First, they taught me how to defend persecuted mages like your daughter. Like, on one hand, she has a very, at least from her one interaction with Celeste, she was a very terrible jail-side manner with Celeste that instantly rebuffed Celeste from wanting to work with her. And while it is perfectly in character for nobility to drum up false rumors and shit, she's also not done herself any favors. Like, she's has the very, on the sliding scale of corrupt to, on the sliding scale of Phoenix Wright to Christoph Gavin. Like, Ruby is somewhere near the middle in terms of sticking to the letter of the law to get an acquittal for her clients. Their feelings be damned. Relationships be damned. Going completely within the bounds of the law without any of the bonding with the client, without any of the attachment. Very practical. Very practical, realist outlook on the law that's right in the middle of that sliding scale. You've seen how I defended Celeste. I'm doing everything honestly and legally. Miss McCoy, I know you don't know who to trust right now, but I do know more about Flynnhart. Right now I don't have any leads as to who might have done this. Okay, but promise you won't mention any of this in court. Don't want Celeste being dragged into another scandal. I'm sure as hell don't want any more steel winds showing up in town. I can't make any promises, but my priority will always be to keep your daughter safe. I guess that's as much as I can ask for. Effie was Flynnhart's younger sister. Celeste doesn't know about her. She died 20 years ago and Flynnhart never brought her up. What happened? She was friends with the son of the ruling noble back then, and she'd always sneak into town to see her. Effie always loved magic. Reminded her of the fairy tales she read growing up. He'd always show her his real spells by the lake, all to make her smile. But warned not to use his spells without his instructor present. One day he lost control of one of his spells and wounded Effie. Rushed her back into town, but it was too late. By the time he could dress her wounds, she was already gone. Stories like that were awfully common among the nobility these days. Next day, the Arcane Inquisition came to investigate what happened. The boy's parents used their influence to cover everything up. They even threatened Flynnhart's family into staying quiet. After that, they told the town that Effie had been mauled to death by a wolf. Oof! Flynnhart all but declared war on the nobility after that. It turned out tavern into a meeting place for commoners who shared his resentment. Word spread, and night after night more and more revolutionaries started showing up to his rallies. It wasn't long before they started planning a revolution. They started constructing like-minded groups in the towns nearby. They were even starting to arm themselves. While he watched as everything unfolded, I heard stories about what the Steelwinds were doing to people like him. I begged him to stop. And some of the other townsfolk. He knew he was going to get all of us killed. I was shocked when the knights told me he'd been murdered, but I wasn't surprised. I really hoped he'd let go of his anger when Celeste showed up. He was really starting to change after we adopted her. Tell me more about Celeste. When did she become a part of your family? It all happened 19 years ago, a year after Effie's death. We're closing one night when we found a baby with white hair abandoned in the dining area. It took weeks for her parents to come by, but no one ever came looking for her. We named her Celeste, for the full moon that was out that night. We'd always wanted a child, so I thought she must have been the gift of the Scaled Lord. One day I spotted Celeste practicing her magic. That's when I realized that a noble must have abandoned her out at our inn. Didn't care though. Loved her all the same. Linhardt did too. Wait, you knew she was a mage this entire time? I did. I haven't known her very long, but she's a terrible liar. Linhardt must have noticed it too, but I think he didn't want to believe it. I spoke with Celeste earlier, and she believes her father died hating her. What? He loved her more than anything in the world. Must have been really close. More than anything. Want to hear a story? Celeste had just come from the Eastern Kingdom. She wouldn't stop talking about this foreign drink that she loved. Linhardt did everything he could to have it shipped here. Even called in a bunch of favors to do it. In the end, he was only able to get a single bottle of it. Lotus juice? Is it really that rare? Product of the Eastern Kingdoms, and it's hard to import anything from outside of Rivengard. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the only bottle of lotus juice in the region. Wait a minute, lotus juice? Is this the bottle that Linhardt bought? No, I was going to surprise her with it. What had it disappeared too? I thought it shattered on the floor in the dining area. That's strange. Celeste was always would always help herself to our pantry, so was hiding it in our room. Really? When was the last time you saw it? It was right before I left the house that night. We put it in his room before their argument. I cheated in his room after his argument with Celeste. He wanted to make up with her for snapping at her. Oh. Just to get the as much as I could, there was still one last thing I need to do. It's time to head back to the dungeons and talk to Celeste. Thanks, Mom. Oh, you're back. Did you forget something? There's one last thing I wanted to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about the argument you had with Linhardt. Oh. I knew what it was like to lose a parent. I'd be able to carry that burden if I thought my mother had died hating me. I know he was angry at you, too. At you, but after everything I've heard about you two, I know he still loved you. Tyrion. His final moments, I'm sure that he still cared for you. I don't think it would be that simple, though. I need to persuade her if I wanted her to believe me. An argument with her father would be a lasting scar on Celeste. Throughout this entire investigation, I'd learned how much they cared for each other. I couldn't leave things as they were. I was just trying to make you feel better. My dad has hated mages. I do that better than anyone. Ah. I don't know if it's my place to say this, but there's a reason why your father hated magic. What? Decades ago, he had a sister. She was killed by a mage in a tragic accident. That's why he resents magic so much. He ripped away someone that he loved dearly. I never knew that. That just proves it then, doesn't it? It was selfish of me to learn magic. I know how he felt about it, but I didn't care. I just wanted to get away from my life here. He had every right to be angry at me. I was being selfish. But you didn't learn magic just to benefit yourself, though. You just to support your family. You gave them a hope when the nobility shut down the tavern. That's... You didn't have a choice. You had a gift and you used it to your advantage. That's not selfish. Shut up. What? Shut up, Tyrion. Celeste. You don't know anything. You weren't there. You didn't hear what he said to me. You didn't see the way he was looking at me. I knew him. I knew him better than anyone. He loved me. He took care of me. And I threw it all away. I chose to become a mage. He would never forgive me for that. Or would he? Look at this picture, Celeste. What's this? Broken glass? Wait, that bottle! It's a bottle of lotus juice. These shards are on the floor of the crime scene. What? That can't be true. Not even sell it at Wyverngard. Father called in a bunch of favors to have it imported for you. He did? He didn't hate you, Celeste. He imported your favorite drinks to make you happy. Oh, this doesn't change anything. If he did all that for me, it was before he knew the truth. It's not true. Like you knew anything about us. You only met us yesterday. Don't you know how he felt about me? Don't you think I want to believe you? I know the truth. He hated me. He hated me just like he hated every other mage. Celeste, your mother said that the bottle was stowed in her room. I found it shattered in the dining area near where the murder happened. He was holding it when he died. Means he retrieved it after your argument. So? So why would he have your gift if he was still angry at you? A little bit of joy. Because he loved you, Celeste. He knew he'd lost his temper and hurt you. He was going to use that gift to apologize to you. What? Still don't like this. Daughter, that's a mercenary of all things. Oh, Dad, you know I can handle myself out there. Shouldn't have to. They closed the inn. If I didn't do this, we would have made it through the last few winters. You're worried, but I can do this. No one can ever beat me in a fight. Just be careful. What I'd do if anything happened to you. Don't worry. Just let me do this for you. You and Mom both took me in. Took care of me for my entire life. No, I'm not really your daughter, but... Why'd you say something like that? Sorry, I didn't mean... Those idiots in town say that. Tell me who. I'll go knock them out right now. No one said that. It's just... You're McCoy. Always been a McCoy. You're our daughter. Don't even say any wives. Especially you. Okay. Thanks, Dad. I love you. I love you, too. Oh. How could I ever think that? She trailed off. She'd been barely keeping it together throughout this entire argument. But her voice began to break, and she broke along with it. She paused for a moment, trembling, and she slowly fell against me, gripped me tightly. I think for the last few days, finally crashing down on her. I was sure I was the last person she wanted to comfort her, but I was the only one there. I held back her grief for this long. She was strong, much stronger than I had been. I hesitated, unsure of how to respond. Just held her as her quiet sobs echoed softly throughout the cell. Celeste, I'm sorry, but please don't talk right now. I did as she asked. Not sure if it was enough, but I held her tightly. Oh. Feel better? Yeah. Thanks. Wiped her eyes. They were still red. She smiled at me. Wasn't forced this time. Need water? What? I figured you lost fluids. Oh my god. After you dehydrated? What was I saying? Celeste snorted out a laugh. Felt silly, but something about seeing her laugh left me flustered. Tyrion? Is everything really going to be okay? Will be. Get you that acquittal. So long as you breathe? Yes, so long as I breathe, I'll make sure you receive salvation. She giggled to herself. Yeah. Oh. Anyways, you should rest. The trial is going to be resumed soon. I learned as much as I could about what happened, but I had to assume that Steven had done the same. Who knew what the prosecution had in store for us? I'd hoped that I'd stack the board in my favor. Oh. Hello. Has Pierce given you all the details, Rudolph? Will you remember them? Yes. Notes are pristine, and I pride myself on my eidetic memory. So there are no misunderstandings. I do not approve of this. Consider yourself, Lady Steelwind. The evidence proves that I couldn't have murdered Flintheart, which leaves the bastard child as the only suspect. I don't know what sort of tricks Tim or a stooge they pull tomorrow. You see, this is a way of securing a just verdict. There'll be no need for your father to intervene. Oh boy. Alright, we're cooking. I love this little... God, I love how this full case is coming together. It's real good. It's real good.